Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm your instructor Joy. Thank you very much for your continued support. Here also my Patreon page, booking lessons with me, sending me kind questions, comments and wishes, and volunteering with your time. I really appreciate. So this video will be an answer to a subscriber. This violinist is working on bow technique and was wondering how one could gain the control of bow weight. Bow weight is difficult one, isn't it? Because the bow is made so with uneven weight, tip being very light, frog being very heavy. We understand that we need to, in order to have a fuller tone or loud tone, we need to have a heavy bow like or we need to have a light bow. If we want to play something gentle, a little mellow, how one could do that. So I'll give you 3 things they can try, and hopefully you can try yourself right away and improve your tone production in general. There's of course a lot more to say, but I will give you very straightforward 3 things that you can try right away. First one, understand where the bow weight come from and how to connect those. What do I mean that? So when you place the bow, let's say on the A string in the middle, people think, a lot of violinists try to push bow weight or press the bow with a finger and with a force. We have to understand force is almost never, I should not say never, but almost never the solution. We have to find a way using the natural course or using the least forceful way. Now, let's watch here. The upper arm, we have a lot of muscle, and when you just move your arm a bit, it's quite heavy. So if we can carry this weight of the upper arm to the bow, that's more than enough. So now we have to make sure those weight can be carried to the bow. Meaning, you need to keep the channel open from the upper arm, going through the elbow, wrist, and all the way to the index and middle finger. That's where the bow should be carried on. Imagine yourself a water hose. If you want the water to go through, make sure the water hose is somewhat straight, nothing or no part is bent. That same concept goes here. Make sure no part is bent this way, but rather a little open. Even though it's a little curved, open enough to be carried. And that way you can make it heavy tone. That was number 1. Number 2. Now, let's see where we want to make the bow heavy, where we want to make the bow light, and how. Let's start the lighter part first. As you can see, this part, this thin stick, which we call the tip of the bow, is a lighter part. From the tip to the middle, that's the lighter part. So now, if I place the bow in the middle, again on the A string, if I just open my arm, it is normal for the sound to get softer and disappear because the bow gets lighter. Unless if that's what I want, but I want to, let's say I want the tone to continue, I'm playing middle of the music. Then in order to continue the tone, what we have to do is we have to make the bow heavier. Here, what we're going to do, we're going to start raising our elbow a bit. By doing that one, like earlier that I mentioned the first point, keeping the channel open, we're applying the bow weight, the weight of the upper arm to the bow, like this. Then lower again. Because if I keep it heavy, that may be too much. Just near the tip, about a quarter from the tip, you would apply bow weight. So from the middle, when you're about a quarter from the middle, if you divide bow into 4, about a quarter from the middle, that's when you start raising your elbow a little higher. Then release to the middle. So that's where we need to put a little more weight by raising elbow a bit. But when you do that, make sure you don't raise your shoulder, just simply elbow, not this one. Yeah, because this one actually stops being the weight to be carried on, but it tenses us up for no reason. Drop your shoulder, learn to disconnect it, and just raise your elbow. Like that. Now let's talk about the frog. Frog is harder because first, when we go towards the frog, our arm gets closed up. Our body is already tensed up without wanting it. It's already hard. On top of that, this is heavier part where we have to actually make it lighter. We know that we can bend some part or disconnect the connection from the upper arm to stop the bow weight or make it lighter. But in this case, near the frog, that is not enough. So what we have to do is we have to take the weight off the bow. Literally taking the bow weight off by raising bow out, right elbow higher, and then making the wrist higher also. And then at the end, we're gonna curve our pinky by doing that one. We're slightly rotating or turning the bow. Therefore, we're not using the whole bow, but just some bow hair on the side, making the even bow hair even less, making even lighter. That's how much we have to do. Because if you don't, sorry, this is how it sounds. I'm sure it doesn't sound like that, but we don't want that. So what we do is from the middle, start with the elbows about 90 degrees, and then we start raising right elbow up. Now comes up. When you're about the quarter from the frog, now we start raising our wrist up. Now continue with a finger, the pinky and the thumb gets curved. Let's see if I can show that one. Again, from the middle. Now, elbow up, wrist, and then now, finger, the pinky, and the thumb, oops, gets curved. And then now, vice versa happens. Pinky gets a little pinky, and then a thumb gets slightly straighter. Wrist down, then elbow down. Yeah, again, elbow up. Wrist, finger, wrist down, elbow down, elbow up, wrist up, elbow down, wrist down. Of course, I am dividing more in a rigid way, but it should blend in a little more. Now we know which part has to be heavier, which part has to be lighter, and we know how to do it. Now we go through step 3. We are going to use not just half bow like we did in the previous step, we're going to use a whole bow, starting in the middle. We always start in the middle because this is the most natural way for the right elbow, about perpendicular, about 90 degrees on the right elbow. Make sure the wrist is somewhat straight and every channel is open and ready to go in either direction, up or down. We're going to go toward the tip first and frog and come back to the middle. Start and finish at the middle because this is the most natural way, and we want to always remind our body to work in a natural, most natural way, in the most relaxed way, as much as possible. So the technique is this. We're going to divide bow into 4. Every quarter has a different things to do. So from tip quarter, we have to raise our right elbow a little higher to make the tip heavier. In the middle section, this quarter above the middle and quarter below the middle stay about the same, just closing our arm or opening the arm, just moving our lower arm, closing and opening. Now, however, on top of that, when you go towards the up bow, when you get towards closer to the frog from the middle, going closer to the frog, the elbow comes up. Then now, near the frog, the wrist comes up. Again, quarter from the frog, wrist down. Now elbow down in the middle bow, opening up, elbow up to make it heavier without shoulder being involved. And then elbow down, closing up, and then slightly elbow up and wrist up. Like that. So this goes like this. Now, we're gonna go just opening our arm. Now stopping the one. Now elbow goes slightly up to make the bow heavy. Make sure the shoulder stays nice and relaxed. Now we do same way, up bow. Then now lower your elbow a bit. Now then we're going to raise elbow again to make the bow lighter. Now wrist up, then wrist down, elbow down, open your arm a bit. Now upper arm a little higher to make the bow heavy. And then again. I'm stopping every quarter part to give a point, but if you do that, see if you can connect that one. Always stopping in the middle. Now I'm talking about just a legato stroke, meaning all even bow speed, even tone, as much as you can. Now based on that, then you can work on a specific part. Let's say if you feel like the lower half is not as good, then work only that part with the elbow and the bow, making sure that you take the weight off the bow, and vice versa at the tip. Yeah, I hope this gave you some ideas. I wish you all happy practicing and hope to see you again. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.